One of the legendary bird Pokemon. Those seeing it are overwhelmed by its orange wings that seem to be on fire. Got him. Maybe? It's a good question. Because I've never seen two legendary Pokemon looking after their young. The closest we ever got to seeing a parent and a child legendary was in the anime. One time we saw an adult Lugia with a baby Lugia. So there's that. Go to 3 Island. I'm not sure which island I need to go to next, 2 or 3. He finally made it through. I've struck gold. Ooh, a nugget. I can't give you any nuggets of wisdom, so that'll have to do. Oh yeah, there was a Pokemon here in this patch of grass that we can't get anywhere else. So I have to wait till our repel wears off too. Our repel needs to wear off. Done. Earth. Oh. Okay, I guess it'll faint if I attack it. It's so low leveled. Yeah, I figured as much. Now, we can't afford to straight up attack it, but if it attacks us, it might paralyze itself. One can hope. Never mind. If spotted, it escapes by burrowing with its tail. It can hover just slightly using its wings. Only slightly. Only slightly. Do. Okay. Tell us your secrets, 3 Island. You gonna make lunch for me one day? That'd be cool. I could use some lunch. I'm starving. never go to Berry Forest alone. Well, I don't intend to. I have my Pokemon with me. Okay. Probably gonna be 2 Island then. A pretty high level Pidgey. Hey, we can surf right here. Okay. I don't know where I'm surfing to. Yeah, I can't really go anywhere, but okay. Hey, now there's somebody in the water up here. We found a trainer. Tisha. Tisha, Tronisha, Banana, Fana, Mobisha, Nisha, Misha, Me, Fi, Bobisha. It's Tisha. Stop. Just a random trainer up there to fight. Nothing else. You don't know how to swim? Swimming should be second nature to all mammals. Even if you can't like swim professionally, dog paddle. Yeah. So it's gonna be the other island. No biggie. No, that just leads up to the lady who does the attacks. I see an item. Choppies. Okay. How do I get the rainbow pass to go to the other island? Light up! It's not my Dragonair. It's going to be my Charizard. What? That's my Charizard. What's this hooker's problem? She's not going to teach me the ultimate move? Fuck you too then, bitch. I've got to trigger an event somewhere, and I want to say it's on one island. I just gotta find it. I'm having a very yawny kind of day. You guys having a yawny day? I'm having a yawny day. Yeah, I really need to teach them Rock Smash and get all of the secrets. Yeah, but I gotta get the ruby first, which means I gotta encounter the Team Rocket grunts, which means going right here. You're right to call me a snoop. I was listening in. Ratata. Ratata. Locked in a perpetual scream for life. Eradicate. Those teeth, man. Something else. Sandshrew. Okay. Yeah, actually. Yes, I will. Yes, I'll switch it. Gigadran. Today feels like Saturday just because of the day I've had and all of the events that are happening today in my life. It does not feel like a Wednesday. I think today's Wednesday. No, today's Saturday. It's not Wednesday. Wednesdays don't feel like this. This is Saturday. Today's Thursday. No, it's not. Quit trying to gaslight me. Quietly pulls out phone to double check. Let's go get that ruby. Ruby, ruby, ruby. Ruby, ruby, ruby. Ruby, ruby. Ruby. We needs that ruby. Yes, we needs that ruby. Oh. We need is to use a max repel or we'll be stopping every 2 seconds. So I was talking to Tyler the other night while we were playing Minecraft. As you do. We were talking about the Chicago trip, going up to the museum to see the Pokemon fossils and stuff. And it's going to be about an 8-hour drive from where he lives. 12-hour drive from where I live. So what I'll have to do is I have to drive the 4 hours from my house to his house, spend the night at their place, and then we'll drive the next day the 8 hours up to Chicago. Stay at a hotel there, come back. I'll stay at their house another night. I drive home the next day. Shouldn't be an expensive trip. However, I had mentioned offhand, like, wouldn't it be cool if we could take a train? Because Tyler had said something about, it'd be cheaper if we took a bus, and then we all laughed because it's a bus. But then he got real serious about it. It's like, you know what? Because I said, there are no trains don't really run vertically in the States. They really only run horizontally. And then even then, they suck ass. We just don't have a good train system here in the States. But he got to Googling. It turns out there is a train that does run from Nashville to Chicago. We could take the train. That would knock 2 things off my bucket list in one trip. 3 things, if you count the Pokemon fossils. The Pokemon fossils, though, are just a bonus. They're not on my... Visiting the Chicago Field Museum and riding a passenger train are on my bucket list. Pokemon fossils are just extra. Ooh. All right, so with Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, they introduced this Braille system in order to get the Regirock, Regice, and Registeel. I can't read Braille. I know a lot of people were a little confused about the whole Braille thing. I don't know what they were thinking because we can't touch it or feel it in any way. It's just there. So even if we could read it, it's very confusing to me, and I always just used a walkthrough or a guide to get past those parts. I don't really remember what the Braille system does in Pokemon FireRed, to be honest with you. I think it tells you how to... I think it basically tells you what HMs to use, in what locations, and in which locations to use them to open chambers for things. But I kind of remember off the top of my head, so I don't really need to bother trying to decipher the Braille. I know that we use cut on one of the doors, and the rest we'll figure out as we go. All right, we have the Ruby now. It looks like my repel wore off. No. I don't want to run into Slugma every 2 feet. Every 2 kilometers. I really wish the United States did kilometers like the rest of the world. I can't tell you how much I hate that the United States has to be a special little snowflake. And have its everything's in miles instead of kilometers. Everything is inches instead of centimeters. I'm not a fan. I don't know why America has to be so special. Whatever. The driving on the right side of the road, I'm indifferent on that. I could care less what side of the road we drive on. Right, left, it doesn't matter to me. The Ruby is in place. Now we need the Sapphire. I remember when I was younger playing these games, the Sapphire was the hardest thing in the world to get. It involves this long, arduous task of tracking down Team Rocket, fighting their dumbasses, trying to get the Sapphire. Which we're going to do. now that we have the pass, we can visit more islands. Hey, wait, how do I not have the, I have Aurora ticket, mystery ticket. Hold up. There we go. Okay, cool. Let's do some item management before we do anything else. All right, let's see. Is there any garbage in our pockets we do not need? Yeah. Not garbage. We're not going to be using any of this stuff. Sell the rainbow pass. No! Are you crazy? It wouldn't let me if I wanted to. I bet some crazy people would if the game would let them. You know how people are. Let's see. Let's get rid of some of these garbage TMs. Oh, we never used Psychic. Okay. Wait, I need to buy. What are you buying? What are you selling? I need to go to a Pokemart that sells everything. So what we'll do, we will fly up to the Pokemon League. Let's do some shopping. Ultra Balls. Oh, goddamn, I can only afford 30? Oh, no. Where did all of my money go? I am broke. Where is all of my money? Somebody tell me where. As much as I don't want to sell this stuff, I need every single solitary penny that we can get. Am I going to have to money grind on this game? I better not have to money grind. I better not have to money grind. Or somebody's going to get the clamps. At least TMs are worth a pretty penny. Okay, that's all I'm willing to part with. Someone spent a long time at the casino. Well, that doesn't really get us more money, though. That just gets us Pokecoins that can only be spent at the casino. Like a closed loop system there, unless you spend real world money to buy casino coins. But nobody's dumb enough to do that, am I right? I'm gonna take... Yeah. Item, give. Amulet coin. Perfect. Then we switch Charizard with Dragonair. Boom. Now we go back. Vermilion. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Okay. Boat, please. Okay, Sevi Island. 4. Now, 4 Island is where the daycare is. We go to the daycare there to breed Pokemon. Uh-oh. Haircuts here. Be smelling ya. Smell you later. Oh, snap. Use that to sell. I don't think the Sevi Islands works the same way as everywhere else on the map. I think I could fly to each one of the Sevi Islands without having to visit the Pokemon Center, but just on the off chance we're going to do it anyway. Bum 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 bum. Oh, we got a Hall of Fame sticker. We got a sticker. Hey, look at that. He gave us a star sticker. Oh, no, that, or is that the sticker? I don't know. Stickers. Every time she comes back from back to 4 Island, her collection grows. Yeah, I saw that on the internet after this game came out recently during its re-release. Apparently, every time Lorelei loses to you at the Elite Four, she brings home another plushie. Oh my god. I've seen online that you could fill her room with plushies if you just keep grinding the Elite Four. Now, I don't know if that means that I need to just beat her or beat the entirety of the Pokemon League. We'd have to go try that out. Body slam match. Ooh, hell yeah. Teach me body slam. Body slam, baby. Oh, look. I didn't know this many Pokemon can learn it. Dragonair can learn body slam? No. Vileplume, yes. Because I don't think I have anything but cheesy grass moves. Yes. Okay, let me sit back up. You're awfully heavy. I'm not heavy. Did you just call me fat? You son of a bitch. have a word with my wife. Nah, I'm good. So basically, this is where you drop the 2 Pokemon off at the daycare to get Pokemon eggs. Obviously, that's not a mechanic we're going to be dealing with because we have no intentions of finishing the Pokedex completely. Well, we couldn't if we wanted to because we don't have access to Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire on the Switch. Which again, a lot of people, like, that's been the only thing anybody's been talking about since Nintendo put these games out on the Switch is, do they intend to give us Ruby and Sapphire, maybe even Emerald? I've heard speculation, I've heard rumors, people have talked about, oh, this leaker says we're getting it at this point in time, and this leaker says we're getting it at the end of the year, and you never know. I don't exactly have the best Pokemon to send out first against ice types. Yeah. Let me rectify that mistake immediately. Jump up and beep, boop beep bop, boop, beep beep bop, beep 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 bop, beep bop boop beep bop boop. Oh, I fucked up. Where does this take me? Never melt ice. It's the magic ice. Oh, I won't be able to navigate through there. I'll have to take the ladder, won't I? Ah, okay. I had to fall at specific spots. Wait. Waterfall! The last HM that we didn't have. Full story. Bum 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 bum. And of course you guys know what we gotta do, unfortunately. Use another goddamn HM and we take a day. I didn't have a choice. You see? Do 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 do. Bird! They are going nuts. Let's see. Since we're going to be fighting Team Snot Rocket. Keep your filthy hands off the Pokemon in the cave. Do as I say, or you'll have me to answer to. Ah, shut up, lady, and leave us be. Don't let your glasses get all steamed up, you see. What am I doing here? No, we can catch up later. Right now, I need your help. Help me kick these poachers out before they do anything else. They've been catching Pokemon here, then selling them off. Are you ready? You take that one, please. Don't mind if I do. Who says you can't catch Pokemon and do what you want with them? I do. I say you're hurting the Pokemon. If you were catching them for legitimate purposes, that'd be one thing, but you're catching them and using them as a profit, selling them like a commodity and forgetting they're living things. Kind of like assholes do here in our world. People forget that these animals are living things with agencies of their own. People treat animals like toys, props, possessions. It's why I refuse to use the word owner. I won't use owner. I won't. I'm not using owner. You can't own another living thing. At least you shouldn't. And it's funny that humans draw that line in the sand too. They're like, well, we're against humans owning other humans. That's where we draw the line. But owning that dog, that cat, that turtle, that parrot, that this, that, yeah, I own that creature over there. I own it. I am its god. No, you're not. One of the things that bothers me a lot is my hypocrisy towards not being a vegetarian. Like, I eat meat, I eat hamburger, I eat fish, I eat poultry, I eat everything. I've had frog legs before. I've had deer meat before, it's... And I feel a certain way about it, yeah, I do. I'm definitely 100% against factory farming. Like, it's one thing if we had farms and you needed to slaughter a cow or a chicken or something to have the meat to be able to sustain life. That's fine. Ooh, she used Lapras and Ice Beam. So they're on 5 Island. Team Rocket has a warehouse on 5 Island. Get there. This is awful. I was born and raised here on these islands. I had no idea these horrible criminals were loose here. Don't worry, I'll handle this. But yeah, I've always felt some type of way about eating meat, but I'm also not 100% against it if it's done ethically and with morals in mind. If you're going to kill an animal, I insist that you use every part of that animal, not just the meat, but its hide and everything else too. The living thing died for that reason, for that purpose. So, and of course, nothing against people who have other belief systems, in that regard. Whether you're vegetarian, vegan, whatever it might happen to be, totally valid. Totally valid in my opinion. I respect the hell out of it. Oops, I did not mean to go back to Vermilion. But, when I play Pokemon, I do think about that. I think about how Team Rocket and a lot of the other evil teams will mistreat Pokemon. They treat them like a tool to be used for their evil enterprises. And the funny thing is, a lot of people use animals in our world the same way. There's not a big difference between the standard pet owner these days and Team Rocket. Especially, like, you have puppy mills, you have factory farming. We've wiped out entire species. It's overhunting, deforestation. Like, it's all a pretty big mess. Pretty big mess. We definitely wish that the human population were lower. Obviously, you can't just go around killing humans. But the reason that we've gotten up to 8 billion plus humans on the earth is because religion plays a lot in it, but two, because the survival rate infant mortality rate used to be very low. It used to be really hard back in the day to keep infants alive. We didn't have antibiotics, modern medicines of any kind, so it was kind of a gamble whether your children would live and make it through, to adolescence or not. It was always about a 50-50 shot, just in a vacuum. Then add other factors like early humans didn't have electricity or transportation or anything like that. Didn't have cars. If you were in an accident, it was like, oh, well, I got a splinter. I guess I'm dying at 29 years old. It was nice to know you. You know what I mean? So that's one of the reasons humans used to, have 12 children per couple, per family. They needed to reproduce a handful of times to make sure enough of their offspring survived to adulthood to keep the species going. But we don't live that way anymore. We have modern science, technology, medicine, so on and so forth. But humans didn't stop overproducing or over-reproducing. They just kept over-reproducing, despite the fact that mortality rates in infants have stabilized. And I think a lot of that is due to lack of education globally. I think a lot of people are still of the mind that we need to, keep breeding, just breed and breed and breed and breed and breed, and human populations keep exploding and exploding and exploding and exploding, and it's using up all the resources, causing tons of, danger to the environment. Each human in their entire lifetime will put a shit ton of carbon into the air, will use up a shit ton of resources on the earth, which we have a finite amount of. So we do live in a bubble. Once you fuck up your bubble, we can't just stroll down the road to the next planet, Make it make sense, folks. I will say, sometimes it can be a little much, though, because we've paved over so much of the planet now, and we've deforested so much. A lot of the animals are having a hard time adjusting. I know the global bird population is having a really, really tough time with light pollution during migration season. They're having a real hard time adjusting to human noise pollution. They're having to sing longer, louder, harder. It's not good. The use of pesticides is not only poisoning our food, by extension giving us cancer, it's wiping out entire food chains worth of insects needed to prop up other species, birds, small mammals, rats, snakes, things like that. You're poisoning everything. Poisoning. But I digress. Pokemon have a very delicate ecosystem too. And I guess, as we've learned through Pokopia, the inevitable came for them too. It's sad, really. If I didn't have such a massive eating disorder, I would seriously consider, just switching over and being a vegetarian. It would make me feel better at the end of the day. But the lifelong struggle that I've had with overeating and food in general, it's never really been a viable option for me. Maybe one day, I don't know. I mean, everything in, I mean, the food chain exists, you know, we humans being omnivores. So like I said, I'm not necessarily against eating animals. It's just, at the end of the day, I know that when I buy meat from the market, uh, I'm participating and being part of the problem. I don't think any of the food I consume is ethically sourced in any way, shape, or form. And it's expensive to go to a Whole Foods and try to buy farm to table or be socially responsible. No, we can't afford that. Only the rich can afford that. And they're the ones fucking up the planet for profit anyhow. They don't care about eating clean. The only people who go to Whole Foods and buy health conscious and not economic, but nature conscious, I guess. I'm having a brain fart. The only people who do that are people who are either up their own ass or do it for show or can afford to do it. I have eaten middle class grocery store, Walmart, market grade garbage food my entire life. I don't know any different. Like, I've never had farm fresh anything ever. My milk is mass produced in a factory farm. My meat is grown in a factory farm. My eggs come from a factory farm. Everything I consume is highly processed. What can you do? And you worry about things, you know, you worry about colon cancer and stomach problems and stuff like that. And it's all I can really do is worry. I don't have the power to do anything about it. Like I went, when I was in the store yesterday, I was kind of having this moment where I was standing there. I needed a new toothbrush, and I thought, well, I can buy one single toothbrush, or I can buy one of those packs that have a handful of toothbrushes in them. And I was looking at the various packs, and just for like a pack of 4, it was like $12. And the toothbrush that you're going to buy this day and age is just like a stick of cheap plastic with some sort of synthetic, like plasticky, brush quills on the end of it. It's not going to be anything of real quality anyhow. So I thought, what's the difference between buying this pack over here that says $2 and what's the difference between buying that pack that says $12? The quality is probably honestly going to be about the same. So I bought the $2 pack. Like, am I crazy? I don't know. Right, we need to heal Dragonair. I feel like I was born in an era where no matter what I do, no matter how I vote, no matter how I live my life, whether or not I recycle, whether or not I drive an electric car, whether or not I buy certain products, I feel like at this point it's all moot. I feel like no matter what I do, it's not going to help any at all, which I do understand is kind of the wrong way to look at things, you know, because yeah, if everybody felt that way, then nothing would get done. Progress is made one person at a time. That's the mentality you should have. This is the same as like my friends back in my 30s are like, I don't vote. Why don't you vote? I don't give a shit enough to vote. But one person not voting isn't going to change anything. Maybe, but when tens of thousands of people feel that way at the same time, do you understand? Like, it's your social responsibility to go vote. But, you know, and I spent my 30s like listening to all of the political speeches, reading as much as I could, voting my conscience, trying to do the utilitarian thing and vote for the politician that not would do the most good, but would do the least damage. Because let's be honest, all politicians suck ass. Oops, I meant to read that. Hang on. So you'll notice that Centric's coloring here is a little off. He looks like he's going supersonic. Let's see. That's something I like to do on the show. Even if we don't finish the Pokedex for a whole game, I still like to read the dex entries for the ones we catch. It stands on its tail so it can see a long way. If it spots an enemy, it cries loudly to warn its kind. Centric, everybody. But yeah, you know, I spent my late 20s and all through my 30s trying to be socially responsible, trying to be a good citizen, not just at home, but abroad. You know, I tried to make decisions that would ultimately have the best outcomes globally. You know, I recycle, I don't litter, I don't drive a gas guzzler, I try not to buy certain products, I try to boycott certain companies. I've always done what I thought was the right thing. I've always tried to let empathy steer my moral compass in any given direction. Because a lot of times people will say, well, you're an atheist. Where do your morals come from? If you're an atheist, that must mean you can just murder and do whatever you want. And I'm like, no. No. Just because I'm not religious doesn't mean I have no morals. My morals come from... sorry, I had another brain fart. My morals come from my utilitarian beliefs. The greater good, but the great, you know, you do the most good for the most people, but you don't necessarily sacrifice individuality for that either. You know, I still believe in individual liberties, but I also believe in giving up certain liberties on occasion if it serves the greater good. And I feel like most people operate that way. So my ethics and my morals are empathy based. How do I, you know, what do I do, think, or say affect not only one person, but everybody? Up it! Its body is so light, it must grip the ground firmly with its feet to keep them from being blown away. But, you know, that's how I live my life, and that's how I operate. Now, over the years, I've come on this show and I've said some pretty horrendous things that I can't take back. And I said those things from, you know, coming from a place of frustration and depression and just sheer mindfuckery. Now, that's not an excuse. I have said some fucked up shit in my past, in my day. But, and I still do. And I probably still will for the rest of my life. Kind of overstep that line and say stupid stuff. Open mouth, insert foot. But sometimes it's just a loudmouth being a loudmouth because they're frustrated. Does that make sense? Like, I would never really act on any of the dumb shit I say. Sometimes my frustration gets the better of me, and I might say stupid shit. But I try my best to make sure that none of my actions harm other people, as well as, you know, the animal kingdom. A lot of people will, you know, go through life every day and not really. Nah, I need the other password. Damn it. So we found the Team Rocket warehouse, but we're gonna need the other password. We're gonna need to go to the next island. But yeah, I try to make sure that what I do in my everyday life doesn't fuck over the animals as well. You know, we don't use pesticides in our yard, and I try not to cut down all of the flowering plants, and I don't mess with bird nests, and you know, I put up a bird feeder, and every once in a while, if we have bread that goes bad, we'll throw it out for the animals. You know, I do what I can. It's not a lot, but I do what I can. And that bird seeds, it's $15 for a fucking bag of bird seed. We're not made of money. Okay. Focus on what I'm doing here. Okay, so we're still looking for, I feel like I've been talking for so long, we've forgotten the plot here. We've lost the plot of what we're doing. We're trying to find the sapphire to power the PC so we can connect with the Hoenn region. But I also want to stop Team Rocket. I feel like the Team Rocket down here on the Sevi Islands has no idea that their organization has been disbanded. And I think, you know, I've said it a million times, I don't like superhero stuff. I don't like Marvel stuff. I don't like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, the Avengers. I don't like all that stuff. None of that is my interest. But I did find the morals and ethics behind the whole Thanos wanting to snap and like wipe out half the life in the universe. I did find that to be interesting, at least somewhat. And his reasoning, you know, was there's so much suffering, not just here on Earth, but across the entire universe. And it's because there's just not enough to go around. Life throughout the cosmos has apparently just kept breeding exponentially until there's too many people, not enough stuff. Which is something I touched on way earlier. Like, humans have not checked themselves. They just keep breeding wildly out of control. But I feel like the thing to do would have been, I feel like the proper route to take would have been education. Like, teach everybody that we need to slow it down. Maybe have 1 or 2 kids instead of 12. Do what we can. Like, if you feel like you're having kids out of some sort of obligation to society, don't do it. You know? I went through an anti-natalist phase years ago, but I'm not that way now. If you want to have kids, that's your prerogative. I don't give a shit. I don't want kids, but you might. Don't have 12. Earth's past the point of being able to handle that burden anymore. Stop. Please. But, yeah. Using his Chaos Emeralds in his glove to snap and get rid of half the life in the universe. You're just going to do way more damage than good. Not to mention, you as an individual don't have the right to make that decision. That would need to be something that everybody in the universe voted on together and did the democratic thing, which the logistics on that are impossible. So, yeah, while I kind of understand where he was coming from, still wrong to do. Because it's like, how do you decide who gets to blip out of existence? You know what I mean? You don't really have the right to, like, it's one thing to curve reproduction numbers. It's another thing to wipe out life that's already there. clap, 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 clap. We don't see Mr. Mime that often. Oh no, I'm stuck using Blizzard because he used Encore. Damn it. Let me heal before we get too far into that direction. Oh no! Oh, he's giving up and going home. Dun, 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 dun. The Sevi Islands, in case you guys haven't noticed, they use the music from Gold and Silver from the Johto region, which is really nice. Run, not Pokemon. I feel like despite our somewhat glitchy start this morning, we've gotten quite a bit done today. Ah, he saw me. No, no, I was gonna save and quit. We were going to end the stream, but now I gotta find an on-out. Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap things up here today as soon as we battle this guy. I think we got about 2 episodes out of today's streaming efforts, so I'll put those up. And I think I might go chill and play a little Minecraft. Tyler's coming down today. I think he's already here. He's got a family thing to go to. Then he and Tiff are going to come by later and see me. He bought himself a new VR headset, so he's going to do the hand-me-down thing and give me his other one. I don't know what model it is. The one before whatever the current model is, which is still totally viable and useful for our purposes. We'll have to check out some VR stuff. And, yeah. It's the Meta Quest one. I know that much. I'd always said that if I had to buy one myself out of my own pocket, I would get maybe the ones Valve made for Steam. But I always kind of knew that they would be kind of too expensive and out of my price range. Because every time I go to spend a little bit of money on electronics, I'm either buying a new controller, new headset. I bought the Switch 2. I had to buy the OLED Switch when my other Switch died. I bought the graphics card for the computer. All the money I ever have in my budget for electronics always goes towards this show. Buying games, buying software. I'm always spending money on this show. So I've never had enough money at any given time to buy my own headset. So I kind of just waited it out until I got a hand-me-down. So we'll play around with that when I get it set up in the next day or so. I'm going to double save to make sure. I'm going to head out. Thank you guys so much for being here today with me. Lewis came in clutch. He came in here and gave us all the luck we needed to catch Moltres. I want you around when we go to get Deoxys, Lugia, and Ho-Oh. I need you as my good luck charm. All right. See you, folks.